Hey, g'day fellas. At the end of my last video, I mentioned that the next Agnos video would be a big one. Well, some of these commissions are going to take way longer than I initially suspected, so you get this one in the meantime, and then another one later. Maybe another one squeezed in between later down the track. Once again, we're just going through a fuck ton of these bastards, and I'll explain my ideas behind them. Make sure to subscribe and enjoy the video. So, in the last one of these videos, we started off with our regional bird. So instead, we're gonna jump right on in with our early bug type. This is Nymphant, a little locust nymph/infant. My guy just jumps around. He's got mad hops, and some real fucking powerful hind legs to boot. Strong enough to propel him 15 times his body length in a single leap. He's also got some snazzy fucking pilot goggles to make sure shit ain't getting in his eyes when he's airborne. How far can its evolution Locluster jump? Way fucking further. But that isn't all he's about. Now, locusts, they ain't got much to do with Greek mythology, but in the real world, these pests have done some real fucking damage to Greece's agriculture. I mean, there was a whole ass island overrun with the fuckers as of 2017. Now, Locluster, he's a big boy and he eats more than his body weight on the daily. What's worse is that they have adapted to living and moving in clusters, so that's a lot of crops getting eaten. This idea of living in large groups parallels the insane amount of locusts that do what they do working together. And whilst there are nowhere near that amount of low clusters, they do have a pattern on them that makes it appear as if there are a shit ton of entities all crammed together. Romagapi, on the other hand, is just chill, living alone until it finds the one. Yeah, we gotta love disc evolution, and no, unfortunately it is not Alamo Mola. In Greek myth, there was this one time when Aphrodite and her son Eros had to escape from Big Daddy Typhon, their getaway vehicle. Well, they just turned themselves into two fish, which later became known as the constellation of Pisces. So we have two gods of love, and fish, and a love disc, and well, it just kind of fit together pretty neatly. Now, instead of having two fucking fish tied together flopping about, Romagapi, whose name comes from romance and agape, Greek for love, has two forms. Romagapi's signature ability, Sweetheart, will have her change from her full heart mode to her broken heart mode when she drops below half health. Full heart mode sports higher defense, special defense, and HP, whilst broken heart mode does the opposite, boasting higher speed, attack, and special attack. Another evolution of a pre-existing Pokemon we have is, well, let's start with the regional form of it she actually evolves from. Archaic Spinarak is here with us now, a bug steel type. Spinarak has some seriously tough webs, and a bear trap-like jaw to help deal heavy and big bites. The spider it's based off of is the Eusporasis, but that's just a design choice. No lore implications to go along with it. Our archaic Ariados has some ties to Greek myth though. In the mythos, there was a fair maiden who was very talented in her craft. Talented enough to have the fucking balls to challenge Athena, the literal goddess of crafts, to a weaving contest. This maiden's tapestry was perfect, without flaw, and at the same time was narking on all of the Olympian gods. But Athena was such a sore loser that she beat the shit out of the girl with her weaving shuttle, and the girl soon hung herself out of shame. When it comes to creating these fine arts, Ariados is the same and takes great pride in its webs. It's even got a spindle wheel on its ass to help make its works as good as they can be. Now, I'm sure plenty of you had a brief idea of where this evolutionary line was going. That maiden I spoke of, that was Arachnet. And this is Arachnet. Now, after Arachnet had hung herself, Athena revived her as a spider, though she's often depicted as having a female torso. So, there she is. She also pulls inspiration from the nursery rhyme Little Miss Muffet. You know the one. Little Miss Muffet, she sat on her tuffet, eating her curds, eating it away. Along came a spider who sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. Now, Arachnet has some weird fucking behavioral patterns. Hunting her prey, she will use her steel-like webs to hang them from trees. Not hanging like how Arachnet hung herself, just dangling from the trees. She'll rob the trainers of their food, but will leave them a shiny object as a payment. Next up, we have Scyllace. Scylla was a bad bitch, depicted as having 12 feet, 6 snaky heads, and her loins girdled by baying dogs. Now, I got too many serpentine Pokemon in Agnos, and the dogs don't really fit in with it being a water type. So I opted for boiling water tendrils and shark heads instead. The ace in her name pulls from an ace in a deck of cards, representing excellency and the highest quality, as well as simply luck, as well, it's cards. And if you're traveling between Scylla and Carybdice, you're fucked. You're gonna need more than a miracle to get out of there. Too bad. Scyllace is way luckier than you. She has the signature move, Scolding Straight, which is pretty much just Scold, but the burn chance is absolute. Every region has their early rodent. This is ours. I wanted to make a rat king, but at this point in time, he's just a little rat with a knot in its tails. Hence the name, rat plus knot. There are, however, rare sightings of discolored white rattot, not shinies, that bring great fortune to those who catch it. This is as white rats represent good luck. That being said, these white rattot don't evolve and have their own special ability, Shared Fortune, that grants its partner in a double battle an increase in accuracy and evasiveness. Rattach evolves from the stock standard rattot and has become a tyrannical ruler. Attached to its tails are smaller creatures that follow their every command. It is unknown as to whether or not these have minds of their own, however. He's a fat fuck, who is now fully based on a rat king, which, if you didn't know, are large groups of rats that have gotten their tails intertwined and bound together. Another rodent like every region has is their designated Pikachu clone. Pikachu clones often have their names deriving from the Japanese language, and the same applies for Sentachi. The Sen derives from Senko, meaning charge, and the Tachi comes from Itachi, which means mustard, the family in which stouts and weasels are a part of. Yeah, so he's a little stout slash weasel. It picks up static electricity as it runs, stores this energy in its cheeks, and discharges it through the follicles in its pelt. In Japanese folklore, there is also a creature known as the Kaimatachi, who resemble the weasel and move so fast, no one has ever gotten a good look at them. And there's also Raiju, a Japanese creature made of electricity, that has been described as resembling a few animals, one of which being a weasel. He was also the companion of the god of storms and lightning. So, there you have it. Then there's Piglutt, a small but playful wild boar. There are a lot of wild boars in Greece, so that's why he's here. And that's about it. Oh, and Piglutt, he really likes belly rubs. Its evolutions, Wilbore and Miasswine on the other hand, are directly linked to the mythos. Level Piglutt up enough and it'll evolve into Wilbore, based off of the Caledonian boar of Greek mythology. After King Oeneus had failed to honor her right as a god, Artemis sent down a dreadful and hideous boar of immense power that belched forth lightning to ravage the land. The king sent message to call upon great heroes to hunt the creature. Of these heroes was one woman, Atalanta, who drew first blood with an arrow. Despite not dealing the final blow, she was awarded with the pelt of the Caledonian boar, which did cause outrage. This is why Wilbore has those arrow markings and is all electrical. You get his name by mixing Wilbur, the pig from Charlotte's Web, and boar to dig a hole, as well as just boar. By trading Piglutt, however, the receiving party will be met with a Miasswine, based off of the Erymanthian boar, and named by mixing miasma with swine. For the fourth labor of Heracles, he was tasked with capturing the Erymanthian boar alive. He managed to do so by chasing it into deep snow and then chaining it up. The giant boar had shaggy hair and was foaming from the mouth. Because of how wild it was, I made it real stinky.
Uh-oh.
No, not again. Get out here. Oh, and I forgot to mention that the words that make up Piglutt's name are pig and glutton. Heracles' father, the ruler of the Olympian god Zeus, had a golden eagle. So I mixed it with his lightning bolts and a griffin to make our Archaic Braviary. It moves at fucking insane speeds. So fast it may sometimes look like a ball of light. Once locating prey, they will dive bomb into said victim, leaving thunderous noises as they collide. This is what Dive Bomb, Archaic Braviary's signature move, does. The move itself will always land last, however it will increase its speed as well. Its eagle properties pull from the design of a real-world golden eagle. We gave Zeus his own special bird, so I think it's only fitting to reward one to his wife as well. Let me show you this beauty. Peap. It's a chunky little peacock and the bug is completely blind. With its psychic abilities, however, it can sense one's confidence. Its name is just the start of peacock and Peap. Plumega is its evolution, name deriving from plumage and mega. Now for the inspiration, Hera's sacred bird was that of a peacock and has her own little story about them. The story of the giant Argus Panoptes, the giant with 100 eyes. Old Argus was Hera's devout servant and was actually the one to kill Echidna, but I'd say he's more well known for his other story. Everyone knows Zeus was a horny fucking bastard, and in the myth, he fell in love with a mortal by the name of Io. Trying to sneak his side piece past his wife Hera, he turned her to a fat fucking cow, but Hera saw through this clever disguise, and she called for Argus, the giant with 100 eyes. Hera had Argus chain Io to a tree and watch over her, stopping anyone who may try to free her. Argus was supposed to be the perfect guardian, someone who could watch in all directions, who would always stay awake but still rest. Zeus, however, had different plans and sent for Hermes to slay the monster, which he succeeded in doing by charming all his eyes asleep and bonking him on the head with a rock, earning him the title of Argus Slayer. To commemorate the death of her faithful watchman, she placed his eyes in the tail of a peafowl. And that long-ass story is why Plumega has a bunch of eyes on his tail. The end. Wait, no, there's still that symbol on his chest to explain. This one will be quick. It is a symbol of Geass from Code Geass. I was finally watching Code Geass as of writing this script. I actually finished it like half an hour ago. Let me just say, that was a fucking phenomenal watch. Like, holy shit, that ending. Anyway, in the show, this symbol appears in its user's eyes and has various psychic capabilities. Plus, I just wanted to add a pattern of sorts to Plumega's design. Anyways, next line. Now for someone whose eyesight is in fucking shambles. Asticlops. I didn't want to make him some boring, big, macho Cyclops, so I just kind of made him a ghost. Though I still wanted to make him a fighting type. Now, his fighting capabilities are not very good at all, but his efforts will reach your soul. Chances are it won't even be able to see you properly because of its astigmatism, which is where his name comes from, as well as Cyclops, obviously. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, astigmatism is where your eye's lens has an irregular curve, which just really fucks with your sight. I also based a lot of his design on the astigmatism monster from Undertale, but if it was made of ectoplasm. Atroclops is next. The atro from his name comes from atrophy, the partial or complete wasting away of the body, and this is because, well, it's a ghost. This Pokemon uses the fighting technique of the Gentle Fist. You know, that thing from Naruto. Now, I needed a specialized fighting technique to justify his fighting type, but with the thin frame of his that I wanted, a lot of styles just outright wouldn't work. And then I thought of the Gentle Fist, and added some bullshit about him directly striking points in your soul, like they did Chakra in Naruto. Finally, we have Polyclops, who is based off of Polyphemus of Greek mythology, the most famous of the Cyclopes, and where Polyclops gets his name. When Odysseus was on his way back from the Trojan War, he stopped by the island of the Cyclopes to ask for provisions. Polyphemus was all like, no, and then proceeded to eat 2 of his men. He ate another 2 the next morning, and then another 2 in the evening, so Odysseus offered him something he could not resist. Wine. I mean, who doesn't love a bit of alcohol? Look at you, man drunk. Now on the piss, Polyphemus promises Odysseus a guest gift in exchange for his name. Odysseus lied and claimed his name was some Greek shit that meant nobody, and Polyphemus promised to eat him last. But when he passes out from the alcohol, Odysseus stabs him in the eye, and when Polyphemus called for help, no one would come because he was shouting, "Nobody has hurt me." Odysseus used this newfound blindness as an opening to escape the Cyclopes' island. If Odysseus was honest about his name, things would have probably turned out a whole lot different. And as the surveillance Pokemon, Polyclops can actually track anyone from virtually anywhere, as long as it knows their name. Earlier I showed you Scyllace, so obviously there needs to be a Carybdice to a Scylla. Carybdice is that Pokemon. In the myths, Carybdice was a giant sea monster, located opposite of Scylla, who would swallow huge amounts of water 3 times a day, only to belch it back out, creating crazy whirlpools that could drag ships below the water. Though she is also depicted as simply being a whirlpool herself. And once again, this Pokemon has inspirations from luck, this time dice however. Its name is a combination of Carybdis, dice, and ice. The signature move of Carybdice is Maelstrom, which is a stronger whirlpool that has a chance to freeze the enemy. Also, we're not going to mention that if you squint, it kind of maybe could look a bit like a giant fleshlight. That's it for the video. Let me know what you think, and do the subscribe, like, and yada yada. All that good shit. Trust me, there is a big Agnos video coming soon. It's just taking a bit longer than anticipated. Ciao.